Good morning, everyone. How you guys doing?
Good morning, everybody.
Well, okay.
I am also awake right now.
Wow, I think
Thanks
you
for
and I are
being
the
so
only
energetic.
ones that are awake right now.
Yeah. I had to take extra time to wake up this morning because I've been enjoying all those fall vibes. Because it's finally here, everybody.
It is.
The pumpkin spice lattes hit a little bit different this morning.
It's sweater weather, you know?
Yes, that's
It's
true.
perfect.
Sweater weather, even
It's
though
perfect.
I am,
Yeah.
it's hot in here.
Well, if this is your first time, we want to go ahead and say a very special welcome to you. And if you did not get a chance yet to fill out one of our Connect cards, they're a blue card at that desk in the foyer. We want to make sure that your leader takes you to that spot after service because we have a gift for you of just saying thank you for being here this morning. So make sure you go check that out.
Yeah, fill that out. And we also want to invite you to our Wednesday night services from 6:30 to 8:30 right in here every Wednesday night. We would love to have you guys. If you guys haven't been, you guys got to check it out because Wednesday nights are they're where it's happening. As the cool kids say.
It is.
It's poppin'.
All right, well, we
yes.
have an awesome service planned for you guys, but we're going to get your energy up a little bit by starting off with a game.
Yes.
And I'm going to let you, Keaton, explain, because you did such a great job last time.
So the game, here's kind of how the game works. It's kind of like rock, paper, scissors, but it's a little bit different. It's called Gorilla Man Gun. All right, so here's the gun. Here's the man. Here's the gorilla. Okay? So, gorilla beats man. Man beats gun. Gun beats gorilla. And if you're wondering why man beats gun, is because man knows how to use a gun and gorilla does not.
That's right.
The more you know. That's the logic that we're using this morning. If you have any complaints, please refer
Direct
to
them
my
to me.
boss. Who
Okay,
made
but
up the
how
game.
do you play? So what does this look like?
Yeah, so what'll happen is we'll go back to back. Okay, so you're gonna find a partner at your table in just a moment. You're gonna go back to back, and we're gonna say 3, 2, 1, and you're gonna do something. And so she has gun, and me choosing man would have beat the gun, so I would win.
That's right.
Okay, and if you lose, you'll sit down. We're gonna kind of do it tournament style until there's one remaining. And for that one remaining, we have a gift of a free Frap House drink.
The
Because
coveted
we
Frap
want
House.
you to start your morning off right. So if you guys would stand and find a partner, we're gonna get ready with Gorilla
But most
Man
importantly, you
Gun.
need to find a partner at your
Yeah,
table.
at your table. Find
At
a
your
partner
table.
at your table.
So everyone, stand up. 9th grade boys, stand up. Stand up.
And you'll find
Stand
a
up.
partner at your
Find
table.
a partner at your table. If there is an odd number,
You'll go back to
leader,
back.
you can sit out. All right, boys, partner up.
All
Partner
right.
up. It's not hard. Partner up. Find a friend.
Find your partner and get back to back right now because we're going to count down from 3 starting in just one moment.
Okay.
All right, are you guys ready?
You two, you're partners. Alec, Carter, you two are partners.
All right,
you
hey,
two,
stand.
partners. You two, partners. Partners, 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 partners. Yep, perfect.
We're practicing our
Perfect.
great listening
Good
skills
job.
here today, this morning, everybody.
Okay.
So make sure you guys have your partner, and we're going to count down from 3
Let's do
in
a
just one
practice
moment.
round.
Yes, we'll do a practice round. So if you lose, don't sit down, but this is a practice. Are you guys ready for this practice round? Ready? 3, 2, 1, go.
Perfect.
All right, and if
Okay.
you're doing your guns, it has to be on your hips. If you do guns, it has to be on your hips.
Okay, so to reiterate, what beats what?
All right, so just a reminder, guns beats gorilla. Gorilla beats man. Man beats gun. All
Okay,
right, capiche?
This is the real round now. We
Yeah,
got practice round.
this is real. This is for all the marbles.
That's right.
Or all the fraps, as the cool kids say.
All
Are you
right.
guys ready?
Ready? Go ahead.
3, 2, 1, go. All right. If you
Okay.
lost, take a seat.
If you're out,
if you
take a
won,
seat.
find a new partner
Take a
at
seat.
your table.
If you are still in, find a new partner at your table.
All
So
right.
partner back
If you
up.
lost, find a seat.
Good.
If you won, find a new partner at your table. Get ready for the next round. All right, so once you found your new partner,
All right, is
Get
everyone
back to back.
partnered up? Everyone partnered up? Partnered up, partnered up, partnered up? Okay, we're gonna go round 2. Are we ready? 3, 2, 1, go!
all right, all right.
All right,
So-
if you are out, go ahead and take a seat. Take a seat. If you are still in, raise your hand nice and high. Raise your hand. If you are still in, raise your hands. Perfect.
All right. So if you
Okay.
guys still have somebody
So
at
you
your
two
table,
partner
pair
up.
If there's
You
still
two
somebody
partner
alive
up.
at
You
your
two
table,
partner up. You
Pair
two
up.
partner up. You guys are good over here. I cannot see in the back. I think you guys are good. Okay.
All right.
Everyone have a partner?
I think we're
All right,
good.
here we go. 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, okay.
If you match,
Okay.
do it again so that you have a winner. So you guys do it again until you have a winner. Did you guys do the same thing? Do it again until you have a winner.
Oh.
Okay.
Finger guns.
Okay.
All
Okay,
right,
if you're
lost,
still
take a
in,
seat.
if you're still in, raise your hand. Okay, here's where it's gonna get interesting because of COVID. Okay,
Yes.
okay. You two, stay there and stay there, but you guys are partners. Okay?
You guys-
So you're gonna turn your back to each other with oh, sorry, I didn't see Gabby. Okay, you two. Yep, right here. Friend, turn around in the black shirt, turn around. Yep, okay. You and her, Taryn, are partners, but stay there because you're at different tables. So just turn your back
Okay.
and you'll go from
We
afar.
haven't. Elena, are you
So
still in?
Taryn, yep, there you go.
All
Just
right.
stay from afar.
I can play Elena super quick.
She doesn't have one? Okay. Friend, you're my partner. Okay, you stay
Okay,
there, but turn
yeah.
around.
Rachel will get you, all right? Ready? Be ready. In 3, 2, 1, go. Oh, Rachel got you. All right, if you, did you guys draw? There we go. Okay, they're going. If you
Okay.
had a draw, keep going until you find a winner.
Keep going, keep going.
Yes.
Okay, so
So
Gabby
Gabby,
is
you're
still in?
because gun beats gorilla. Yeah. So.
Okay, so Gabby's
okay.
in. Seth, are you in? You're in? And who are you both in still? Okay, so you guys are
Okay.
partners, you guys are partners.
We
Gabby
still have
girl,
Gabby.
you're my partner.
All right.
Okay, ready?
You gotta beat Rachel. Are you guys ready? 1, 2, 3, go.
So you win.
All
Okay,
right.
so Gabby won.
If you lost, take a seat. All right. Also, Seth, perks of being a leader. You gotta take a seat. We're gonna have our final
Sorry, bro.
match.
Okay. Okay, you guys are gonna compete from afar. Okay?
All
So
right,
turn your backs.
around. Turn around. This
I
is
think
for
this
all
is-
the fraps.
yeah.
All the fraps. You ready? In 3, 2, 1. Man beats gun. Congratulations. Come
Oh, come
up
here,
and get
friend.
your frap card. Worship team, come up on the stage because we are done. We got. Hey, look. How does it feel to have won the game? I can't imagine what it would feel like to
He
have won
has
the
no
game.
words.
It
No
feels
words.
like he's running to get his frap already.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Because I would also be speechless if I had won the game. But I just want to reiterate, Wednesday nights from 6:30 to 8:30, you guys gotta be here. I don't get to be with you guys on Wednesdays, but I know it's lit. So you gotta be here. Rachel, what are your thoughts?
It's the best part of the entire week. It really is.
big facts.
It is.
Big, big facts. All right, well, hey, be here Wednesday nights. I'm going to pray really quick, and then we're going to hop into some worship. But I'm going to pray.
Let's do
All
it.
right. Dear God, I pray again this morning just for an awesome time of worship that we can really connect on this rainy, kind of just actual fall morning. I'm thankful for all the rain that we received and just the impact that that rain has on the wildfires and just having rain because we needed it so bad, God. I'm just so thankful for you. I pray that we can learn more about respecting our bosses this morning and that we can listen to Scott with our ears, our hearts, and our minds. It's in your name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Alrighty, guys, if you'll stand up with us, we're going to go into a time of worship, and we'd love if you guys would sing along with us. I searched the world, but it couldn't fill me. Man's empty praise and treasures of faith are never enough. Then you came along and put me back together. And every desire is now satisfied here in your love. Sing, there's nothing, oh, there's nothing better than you. There's nothing better than you, Lord. There's nothing, nothing is better than you. No, I'm not afraid to
Jesus. You carried the weight of the world on your shoulders, and you stopped at nothing to prove you were for us, Jesus, my Jesus. It's extravagant, it doesn't make sense, we'll never comprehend the way you love us. It's unthinkable, only heaven knows just how far you'd go to say you love us, to say you love us, to say you love us. You don't belittle our pain and our suffering. You comfort us in our greatest unraveling, Jesus, my Jesus. You are the dawn that is breaking within me. You are the sun that is rising around me, Jesus, my Jesus. It's extravagant, it doesn't make sense, we'll never comprehend the way you love us. It's unthinkable, only heaven knows just how far you'd go to say you love us, say you love us, say you love it's yours, no conditions when you pull me close. No, I won't resist it. It's all my love. It's yours, no conditions when you pull me close. No, I won't resist it. Here what's in front of me. Still I will trust you. Still I will trust you. I can see what's in front of me. Still I will trust you. Still I will trust you. Steady heart that keeps on going, steady love that keeps on holding. Lead me on. Steady grace that keeps forgiving, steady faith that keeps believing. Lead me on. Though the sky is dark and the wind is wild, you never leave me. You'll never leave me. Though the night is dark, there is a coming dawn. The light is breaking. The light is breaking. Steady heart that keeps on going, steady love that keeps on holding. Lead me on. Steady grace that keeps forgiving, steady faith that keeps believing. Lead me on. Steady heart that keeps on going, steady love that keeps on holding. Lead me on. Steady grace that keeps forgiving, steady faith that keeps believing. Lead me on. Death could not hold you, the veil tore before you. You silenced the boast of sin and grave. The heavens are roaring, the praise of your glory. For you are raised to life again. You have no rival, you have no equal. Now and forever, God, you reign. Yours is the kingdom, yours is the glory, yours is the name above all names. Steady heart that keeps on going, steady love that keeps on holding. Lead me on. Steady grace that keeps forgiving, steady faith that keeps believing. Lead me on. And as the dawn breaks and the clouds are clear, in an open space, together we will run.
Let's pray. God, thank you so much for just bringing us all here this morning to worship you and just to learn more more about you, God. I pray that you open our ears to what Scott has to say and that we go home with just a new perspective and new knowledge of who you are, God. We love you so much. And all God's kids said, amen.
Hi, everyone. Too early for that? Too early for that? You're like, please stop. I want to take a nap right now. Who wishes they were still in bed right now? Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. Well, we are super excited that you guys are here. We are kind of finishing off this series like a boss today. But before we kind of start, it seems like no matter what TV show or movie, specifically when it comes to comedy, whether it's a current show or a past show, it seems like they all have a common theme. It seems like almost every single comedy TV show or movie has what I like to call a lovable idiot. And what I mean by lovable idiot is usually it's this person in charge. Maybe it's the boss, maybe it's the leader of the family, maybe it's whoever it is, but they're kind of somewhat of the leader. Most of the time, let's be real for a minute, they're guys because reasons, you know what I mean? But most of the time, these lovable idiots are just so dang dumb. They're morons, right? That's kind of what makes the comedy funny. It's kind of what is driving the show. You think about, some of my favorite ones, like, I'll give you a couple examples. Probably my all-time favorite one, well, probably second, actually. I don't know how I feel, but Homer Simpson. I mean, Homer Simpson is like, he is the epitome of the lovable idiot, right? He is not the boss by any means, but he is the dad. He is the leader of the family, but by no means should he be the leader of the family, because every single episode, if you've ever seen it, it seems like he gets dumber and dumber and dumber. That's just how it works. Or you have someone like maybe Goofy from the Goofy movie, and he's just trying to be an amazing dad to Max is his son's name, right? Yes, am I right on that? It's been a while since I've seen that movie, not gonna lie. My daughter likes the second one, and I judge her because the first one is better than this. Anyways, all right. But he is just trying to be an amazing dad, but he makes some poor choices sometimes, He'll take a kayak, off a cliff. That seems dangerous, not great parenting, but you just can't help but love him, But he's maybe not making the best choices. And this third one, he might not be a leader, but I just wanted an excuse to show the picture, and that's Patrick from SpongeBob. Like, he's just, he may not be the leader, but he's got a board stuck to his head. That seems not smart, you know what I mean? But probably my all-time favorite of the lovable idiots, of the boss that just is kind of dumb, but you still kind of root for him, is, of course, Michael Scott from The Office. He's just, oh, man. For those of you that don't know, if you've never seen The Office, this is Michael Scott. He is the regional manager at the Scranton branch of the Dunder Mifflin Paper Company. But he is just, how many of you guys have seen The Office all the way through? How many of you have seen The Office all the way through multiple times? Oh my gosh. Do your homework, all right? You need to stop what you're doing, do your homework, all right? Because let's be real, you're probably skipping homework to do it. But if you've never seen The Office, if you've never seen Michael Scott before, he is the epitome of the lovable idiot. It seems like every single episode that you see, it seems like he makes a more outlandish claim, a more crazy idea. Like, one of my favorite is when he declares bankruptcy. I declare bankruptcy. It's just so good. I don't know why. It just makes me laugh every time. But but also he makes these really bad choices, but you almost are rooting for him more and more every single episode, right? Like you want him to find love, you want him to like kind of all work out with the branch and all this type of stuff. You're rooting for him. But man, he's kind of not that great of a boss. He makes some really, really bad choices, right? And maybe we have those authority figures in mind when we're thinking about that, of those lovable idiots. And maybe we wouldn't call them idiots, that's not what I'm saying, but we have those authority figures in mind that we're like, man, this person in my life, they need their own TV show. They need their own comedy show. They need their own theme music. And not because like they're interesting, but they're kind of a lovable idiot as well. And I just don't know how I feel about following after this person. Maybe it's a coach, maybe it's a parent, maybe it's a teacher, maybe it's someone in charge of you. But unlike those shows, because those shows, they're just all an act, right? Like if you've ever seen an interview with Michael Scott, the actor who plays him, Steve Carell seems like a really smart dude, like really intelligent, well-spoken guy. Like it's just an act. The other three are cartoon characters. Like those aren't real, you know what I mean? Like, but for you, the lovable idiot, the person that has authority in your life that maybe doesn't deserve that authority, that maybe is making poor choices, it's not an act. For you, it's real life, right? It's something that you have to deal with every single day. And because of the choices that they make, it can be hard to listen to their authority, right? It can be hard to kind of understand where they're coming from. It can be hard to kind of submit to what they say and what they want from you. A couple weeks ago, we started this idea of this series about Like a Boss, and we looked at this idea that we all have bosses in our life. And when I say bosses, some of you guys do have jobs that have actual bosses in your life, but even if you don't have a full-time job, a part-time job, whatever it is, we all have bosses in our life. When we say bosses, we mean someone that has authority over you. Maybe it's a coach, maybe it's a parent, maybe it's a teacher, maybe it's a principal, whatever it is, there's a ton of them. Maybe it's you're raised by your aunt and uncle or grandma and grandpa, whatever it is. We all have our bosses. We all have our authority figures. And we looked at this idea that when we honor the boss, it usually works out for our benefit. It might not change them all that much, but it usually works out for our benefit. It usually works out better for us. But maybe you were here a couple weeks ago and you were sitting there when Keaton was talking, you were like, yeah, that's great. I want to honor the boss, but I only want to honor a boss when they're fair. I only want to honor the boss when they're a great leader. I only want to honor the boss when they're someone I respect. And maybe you're sitting there, you're like, my boss aren't any of those things. My boss is someone who's lazy. What do I do when my boss is lazy? What do I do when my boss is irresponsible? What do I do if my boss is disrespectful? What do I do when my boss is kind of dumb? What do I do when my boss is just flat out wrong? What do I do with those things? What do I still have to honor that boss that's irresponsible and lazy? Does God want me to follow after leaders that are bad leaders? Am I required to follow after my parent, my teacher, my coach, or whoever who is clearly a bad leader? And maybe you're sitting here asking those questions, but let's be real for a minute. The real questions you're asking yourselves, you're probably not going to verbalize. Because the real questions are there situations I'm allowed to be disrespectful in because of my boss? Or how is it okay for me to make fun of my boss behind their back because they kind of deserve it? And maybe we're not going to verbalize those questions. Maybe we're not going to say those questions out loud. You know, like no one's like raising their hand being like, is it okay for me to make fun of my mom because she's my mom? You know what I mean? It's like no one's asking those questions. But maybe we're thinking those questions. We want justification for those questions, right? We haven't verbalized it, but maybe we've thought about it. And it's hard to wrestle with, right? How do we deal with authority when authority is not acting in the way they should act? How do we deal with leaders who are not leading in the way they're supposed to be leading? It's hard, right? And as we unpack this, before we do that, I want to give you guys kind of two universal truths. And if, you know, adults, parents, anyone else in this room, I hope you guys will understand and you guys will back me up on this. There are two universal truths. First one is this: we will always have some sort of authority over us. I don't care how high you get in the company. I don't care if you become the CEO. You're the CEO, you still have authority of your shareholders. Your CEO, you still have authority because of some of your customers. They still have authority over you. You cannot just do whatever you want. You still have some sort of authority. Maybe you're like, well, I'll show you. I'll just not have a job and then I won't have a boss. Well, there's things called police officers. They have authority over you. You know what I mean? Like you will always have authority over you no matter what. That is a universal truth. And the second universal truth to go with that is this: it won't always be good. You'll have that authority over you. You will have a boss. You will have a supervisor. You will have whatever. And that boss or supervisor will not always be good. They will definitely not be perfect. And so we know these universal truths that I cannot avoid this authority problem. I cannot avoid someone overseeing me and not messing up. I have to deal with that. We will always have someone that does not handle it properly. How do we handle those situations? What should our attitude be in those situations? And for some of you guys, maybe this isn't a later problem. Maybe this isn't a problem that you're going to deal with 20 years from now. Maybe it's a problem that you are dealing with right now. You're sitting there and you're like, yeah, I have a parent who's making poor choices in their lives. I have a coach that is incredibly disrespectful towards me and my teammates. I have a teacher who is very irresponsible. And you are dealing with that every single day. Today, I want to look at a passage found in the book of Colossians, written by the Apostle Paul in the New Testament. Now, if you don't know who Paul is someone who actually wrote most of the New Testament, the second part of the Bible. And what he would do is he would actually kind of travel around to different places. And he would be there for like a year or two. He would travel around to this new city, and he would live there for a year or two. And he would start a church, and he would raise up this church. He would raise up leaders. He would raise up all these amazing people. He would make sure the church is kind of set, and then he would kind of go somewhere else. And then for 2 years, he would kind of raise up a church and start a new church and train all these leaders, do all these amazing things, and then he would go off to another one. And in between all that type of stuff, what he would do is he would go and check in on all the churches that he was kind of responsible for or that he had a heart for. He was almost solely responsible for spreading the gospel throughout all of the Roman Empire, one of the biggest empires the world has ever known. He was almost solely responsible for it, of basically saying, this is who Jesus was. And so what he would do is he would write these letters, and these letters are what we are found in the New Testament. He would write these letters to these churches. Some of them he started, some of them he didn't, and he would just encourage them. He would challenge them. He'd be like, hey, man, you guys are doing a great job. Keep going. You guys did this, and this amazing. Oh my gosh, that was awesome. People can learn from you. But then he would also have different sections of the Bible where he'd be like, man, you guys are kind of dropping the ball here. Man, you guys are messing up here. You guys are teaching one thing, but the truth is actually another thing. And so he would just encourage these churches and challenge these churches. Now, what we're going to look at in the book of Colossians, it's written to the church in Colossae, and basically we don't actually know if he started this church or not. It's more likely than not that he did not start this church, but it kind of just shows his heart for a church that he didn't even start. He doesn't even really have a huge relationship with them, but he saw this church, he saw the things that they were going through, and he was like, man, I love you guys, and I want to challenge you guys, and I want to encourage you guys. And one of the big things the church in Colossae was kind of dealing with was poor leadership. Now, I don't want to go into it. There's a lot of stuff that's kind of unpacked, but one of the biggest things that the leadership, so basically a pastoral role, someone in authority in the church, they were teaching that Jesus was not God, which is kind of a big deal because Jesus is God. That's kind of like a foundation of all the faith. And so he basically goes to this church. He writes a letter to this church. He's like, look, y'all got to knock this stuff off. You got to actually preach the right things. But then what he does is he not only talks to the leaders, he then talks to all the people that are underneath the authority of the leaders. And we'll see what he says right here. And he kind of almost flips a little bit of a situation. He kind of turns a little bit of a situation. And it's really interesting to read. He starts off in Colossians chapter 3, verse 23. He says, whatever you do, work at it with all of your heart, as working for the Lord, not human masters. You see what he does? He kind of flips the whole situation on its head right here. He's telling us, work for something as if you are working for the Lord, as if you are working for the perfect boss, for the perfect leader, for the perfect authority figure. In other words, he's basically saying, no matter how good or bad your authority figure is, picture yourself working for God instead. It's crazy, right? He's basically saying, just ignore them for a minute and picture that you are working for God. And some of you guys are like, man, I get that. That's cute and all, but like, you have no idea what my situation is like. What if they're a terrible leader and they're actively getting worse at being a leader? What if they aren't fair? What if they aren't wise? What if they are mean? What if they lie? What if they single me out? What if they aren't helping or improving me? And just to be very clear, before I move on, none of those things are good. I don't want to excuse any of those things, okay? But what Paul is saying in this moment is this is not about the leader. This is not about the boss. Paul is trying to say it's not about the them. It's not about the they. It's basically saying like, well, they are doing all those things, and Paul is saying it's not about them. It's not about them at all. You know who it's about? You and God. That's it. Those are the only two people it's about. He's basically saying our responsibility is to obey God and work for him with all of our heart, with all of our soul, with all of our mind. It has absolutely nothing to do with the authority figures over you, whether they are good or whether they are bad. And what Paul is saying right here is that is your role, your responsibility. That is the part that you play in this. The part you play is saying, I'm going to work for this authority figure no matter what. No matter if they're an amazing boss or the worst boss in the world, I'm going to work for them like I'm working for the perfect boss in God. And Paul continues on, and he basically says, if you do that, this is what God does. He continues on with this passage. Since you know that you will receive an inheritance from the Lord as a reward, it is the Lord Christ you are serving. Anyone who does wrong will be repaid for their wrongs, and there is no favoritism. What he's saying here, an inheritance is a free gift. Usually it's coming from a family member, but a lot of times it's someone in authority. So a powerful figure basically gave you that free gift of inheritance. And God is promising all of us a free gift. He's basically saying, if you take care of your part, I'll take care of my part. If you work for every single person you've ever worked for as if you're working for the Lord, I will give you an inheritance. I don't know about you, but if God is giving out free gifts, I'm interested. Some people aren't that great of gift givers. God, pretty good gift giver. He's basically saying, I have this present for you. And he knows that some of us have some bad authority figures, and some of us have to follow after these bad leaders. But he's asking us to do our part. He's asking us to trust in him and to work for him no matter what. And when we do that, he takes care of his part. Said like this, control what you can control and trust God with what you can't. Let me give you an example. You cannot control how good or bad of parents you have. You can't. But you can control your attitude. You cannot control how mean your coach is to you. You can't. But you can control how hard you work in practice. You cannot control your teacher singling you out every single day. You can't. But you can control how you speak to them. And I know a lot of you guys are sitting there, and maybe this is something that you deal with, a couple times a week. You see a coach a couple times a week. You see a boss a couple times a week. Or maybe for other of you guys, you are dealing with this every single day. Every single day, you have authority figures in your life, and they are making poor choices. It can be challenging, right? It can be really difficult to kind of process and navigate through all these different scenarios, all these different relationships. But as we wrap up, I want to give you guys 3 practical things that you can do to help a little bit with this relationship and begin to kind of take control of the things that you can control and then not worry about the things that you cannot control. First one, I want you to forgive. Look, your boss is going to mess up. They're going to mess up more, if not the same amount as you. And if you're anything like me, that's probably a lot, right? Like that's probably a lot of mistakes. We don't have control over when our boss messes up. We don't have control over all those things, but we do have control as to whether we forgive them or not. Whether we say, you know what, I forgive you. I can't control that. I can't control how many times you mess up in a day, but I can control how many times I forgive you in that same amount of day. And for every time they mess up, I'm going to forgive them every single time. It's going to be that 1-to-1 ratio every single time. Second one, be responsible. You want to make your relationship even worse? Be irresponsible. Don't take responsibility for the things and the choices that you make. You have to understand that we all play a part in this. Yes, you might have a terrible boss. Yes, you might have a mean coach. Yes, you might have a parent that's making bad choices. And I'm not saying all those things are 100% their fault and 0% your fault. We all play a part in it. Every single one of us plays a part in the choices that people make around us. But we can only control what we can control. And so I want you to stay responsible. Be responsible. Third one, step in without overstepping. Here's what I mean by that. We'll kind of wrap up with this one. I'm not trying to throw anyone under the bus. I'm not trying to, kind of make this uncomfortable for anyone, but let's be real for a minute. There are people in this room that are maybe living in households, or maybe on teams, or maybe in the workplace, every single day where leadership should be taking place, but it's not, right? Some of you guys are sitting there and you're like, yeah, I wish my mom was actually a little more present. I wish my dad actually took responsibility for the things in his life. And because that's happening in your household, there's almost this lack of leadership. There's this void of leadership, right? And because of that, we kind of feel that responsibility. Maybe we've got younger siblings. Maybe we've got, mouths that still need to be fed, clothes that still need to be washed, whatever it is. In those moments, I want you to step in. I want you to step into that leadership position. I want you to say, you know what? Mom and dad are making some really poor choices right here. I'm going to step up for the health of my whole family. I'm going to step up for the health of everyone in my household. And I'm going to do those things. So that's what stepping in means, but without overstepping. What I mean by overstepping is when you step into that, you throw your parents under the bus. Well, I got to do this because you aren't. I got to be the adult because you're not being the adult. I got to coach these people because you're not. So maybe you're on a team and maybe you're frustrated with one of your coaches and you realize, man, he is just not coaching us in the way we need to be taught. And so you pull your kind of crew aside, you pull your team aside, you're like, hey, let's work on this. And that's great. That's leadership. That's you stepping in. But you overstepping is throwing your coach under the bus. Yeah, I got to coach you guys because moron over here ain't doing it. No. That's not what I'm saying to do. Step in. Be the leader where there's a lack of leadership on your teams, at your schools, or in your homes. But that doesn't mean we belittle the people that have authority in our life. We don't need to overstep our own authority. And it's my final encouragement to you. You do not have to be the boss to lead. You do not have to be the boss to make choices. You do not have to be the boss to be responsible, and you do not have to be the boss to forgive. You can make a huge impact without ever holding the title of the boss. You might not be able to control all the situations around you, but you can control how you act, you can control how you speak, and you can control how you lead. Control what you can control and trust God with what you can't. I'm going to pray, and then we're going to go into a time of just table group questions. And let me give you a quick kind of disclaimer, a quick little caveat. We're going to be talking about some stuff about bad authority, all that type of stuff. The temptation is going to be throw everyone under the bus. The temptation is for you to talk for 5 minutes about how terrible your mom is, how terrible your dad is, how terrible your coach is, your boss is, all that stuff. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Because you're talking about a bunch of things that you cannot control. I want us to talk about the things that we can control, us. Let me pray and we'll hop into those questions. God, I am just so grateful for you. I'm so grateful that we serve a God that is perfect, that we can picture that perfect God, that perfect leader, that perfect boss, and we can follow after him and work for him. And God, that doesn't make it easy, but it does make it a little bit easier, that we know that we are so loved by you. So God, right now, I just pray over these conversations, pray that we would just be vulnerable and honest about everything going on. We love you. Amen. All right, so here are the questions. What is your favorite lovable idiot from movie or TV? Why is following bad authority so difficult? Give some examples of working for the Lord. And when it comes to dealing with bad authority, what is the hardest for you? Of those three, forgive, be responsible, or step in without overstepping. All right, hop into your table groups.